while I may not be John King from King Schools, we're going to try to make this presentation as close as possible to the real deal. I chose to make this presentation on one of my favorite practice maneuvers, unusual attitudes. Unusual attitudes are hazardous in flight where a pilot may become distracted or disoriented and unintentionally lead the airplane into one of a few kinds of dangerous dives or climbs, known as unusual attitudes. So distractions may not necessarily be the cause of an unusual attitude every time, but sometimes. They may occur when the pilot upsets his inner ear, such as when he's bending over to reach for something on the floor of the cockpit. That motion may cause the pilot to inadvertently pull on the yoke one way or another, leading to an unusual attitude. Typical unusual attitudes are usually either nose high or nose low orientations of the airplane. It is easy to recognize these potentially dangerous attitudes if you know what to look for. For a nose high attitude, you may notice your altimeter increasing, vertical speed indicator increasing, airspeed decreasing, and a nose high attitude on your attitude indicator. You'll probably also hear the sounds of the airplane slowing down, such as sounds of a slowing or lugging engine as its RPM drops, and an increasingly quiet wind noise. For a nose low unusual attitude, you would see your altimeter decreasing. You are going into a dive after all. Your vertical speed indicator also decreasing, your airspeed increasing, and your attitude indicator should show a nose down attitude. You may hear wind noise pick up, engine RPM increasing, and an increasingly louder wind noise as a result. So, to look back at nose high attitudes, it is dangerous mostly because of the imminent stall potential it creates. On the other hand, a nose low attitude can lead to overspeeding the engine, the airframe. You could hit V and E, the never exceed speed, and in the most catastrophic events, crashing into the ground. But hopefully not. So let's talk about what to do if you find yourself in one of these hazardous situations. It is likely, if you have been on training flights before, you and your instructor have gone over these exact corrections for these unusual attitudes. For recovering from nose high unusual attitudes, which would entail your airspeed decreasing or being below your desired airspeed, you need to increase power to full. Lower the nose to prevent a stall by applying forward elevator pressure and thus decreasing your angle of attack. Level the wings by applying coordinated aileron and rudder pressure. And lastly, return to your original altitude and heading for your cruise. For recovering from nose low unusual attitudes, which entails your airspeed increasing, being above your desired airspeed, and more or less plummeting to the earth, you want to reduce that power. Typically, bringing it back to idle is a good call to prevent excessive airspeed, engine revving, and loss of altitude. Next, you want to level the wings and apply coordinated aileron and rudder pressure to do so. Raise the nose to a level flight attitude by smoothly applying back elevator pressure. And lastly, return to your original altitude and heading for that desired cruise. A major key in recovering from nose low attitudes is leveling the wings before pulling back on the yoke to raise the nose and increase angle of attack. This is best for the airframe because once wings are level, each wing has an equal amount of force applied to it as you pull up, and it returns to that proper angle of attack. Now that's the gist of recovering from unusual attitudes. I hope you found this video educational and learned something. For this video, I used X-Plane for some of the visuals and actual in-flight footage for the rest. My factual information was learned both from in-flight experience, the King School course, and from cfinotebook.net. I would highly recommend both the King School course and reading through CFI Notebook if you want to learn more on this or other general aviation practices on your way to getting those required licenses for flying. Well, thanks for watching and safe flying.